Hello and welcome back to episode 28 of the Experience Lounge podcast. Such a big number. Oh my goodness, we're almost at the big 3-0. Who would have thought it? And a huge welcome back to everybody. We know we have been a little bit MIA recently, so a huge apologies for that. But Laura, do you want to explain why?
Lady Rona basically got us both. So I think we mentioned at Christmas time when we came back from a bit of a hiatus, Sasha, you'd had it bad in the UK. And to be honest, I was just waiting for my turn to get it because in the UK it doesn't exist, obviously. So,
of course,
no testing and anything. So I had it a few weeks ago, and then you got it again, which is
I got it again
in Singapore, not in the UK. So
4 months after, and let me just say, if there's, any kind of team sport that anyone ever has to pick teams for in the EX sphere, don't pick me because I am clearly just not reliable. My immune system is just not the one. So, I'm glad we're both okay now. Well, I'm almost okay, but you're totally okay now, right?
Yeah. The only thing I'd say is exercising. So on my Peloton, I can't do as long as I used to, and sometimes going upstairs, it's like, that shouldn't be breathing that heavy.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. But otherwise, no, it's fine. And actually, it was bad in the sense of it. Like some people say, it was a cold. It definitely wasn't a cold for me. It was in bed for 3 days, high temperature, all of that sort of stuff. But also, in a way, I'm glad I've had it because I was just waiting for my turn, basically.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah, you're all good now.
All good.
Well, so yes, apologies to everyone, but we're glad you've joined us again, and we're super excited because in this episode we're going to be talking to Volker Jacobs. Now, we've met Volker on the podcast before, so I will link our previous episode with him in the podcast show notes. You can go and check it out, and we have a complete full bio for him there. But just a brief introduction for Volker. So Volker is the CEO and founder of TI People. TI People, really well-known consultancy in the employee experience sphere. They've been around for a number of years now and work with a number of really large and reputable organizations. And Volker, being the awesome leader that he is, has actually branched out into the tech sphere to set up Fount. So he is also the CEO and founder of Fount. And so we got him on the podcast to tell us about Fount, what it is, what it's going to bring to the employee experience space. And we're super excited for him. So let me do a quick bio on Fount as an organization, just a quick introduction. So Fount was created to solve... hold on. Got the wrong ones. Hold on, people. It's okay. I'm warming up. It's fine. Based on the team's track record of work at EX Consultancy and pioneering with TI People, Fount believes employees should feel great at work. With its innovative software solutions, it tackles the challenge of employee experience management by giving leaders the intelligence to prioritize the most important areas for experience improvement and the infrastructure to operationalize the delivery of experience improvements across the many different teams that need to be involved. So Fount is really looking at that employee experience measurement, but not just measurement, that action, that intelligence behind experience. So super excited for him and super excited we managed to get some little previews and I hope sneak peeks from him, things that he hasn't told anyone else. I feel like exclusives were what we asked for and he kind of delivered. So hoping everyone enjoys this and let's jump into it.
Welcome to the Experience Lounge. Volker, we've got you on for the second time. How are you doing? How have you been since the last podcast episode, and what's been new?
Yeah, Laura, Sasha, thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here again. It's been an exciting ride for the last 6 months, I'd say. We've set up a new company, and that's the big news for me. So it was really literally on New Year's Eve, I had guests over in my house. It was 7:00 in the night. I was still on the phone with some lawyers in the US to get the whole thing set up. And then it happened. So 7:15, with drinks in my hand, I closed the setup of a brand new company. And the background story of that is that while from the previous podcast, we at TI People have done a lot of pioneering work around employee experience and how to measure it and how to actually make visible what the human experience of work is, we, over the course of the last year, have actually built it out as a software solution. And the software solution doesn't go very well with a niche consulting business. So therefore, we decided mid last year, we decided to set it up as a separate entity. That took us 6 months. And then on New Year's Eve, it was done. So as of 1st January, we are now basically two companies. One is TI People, a consulting company working with large organizations, helping to manage employee experience. And then the second is a software as a service company, and the name is Fount. And Fount is the new kid on the block. And that's totally exciting because I have the pleasure to be running that company. And it's an exciting ride.
Wow. So you're officially a startup founder now. So you've got do you wear the same t-shirt every day like Mark Zuckerberg?
This very t-shirt is fresh this morning, so I'm really glad to report that. And other than that, it feels a bit like, yes, now I'm a software CEO, and it's actually for the first time. So obviously, I need help, and we're lucky to have a very, very good team on board. As I said, during the last, actually all of last year, we've built up product team, technology team, and all the rest of it. So putting it into this one company was just like the highlight of the end of the last year. But yeah, basically, I don't really feel like software CEO yet.
Well, a huge congratulations to you. We're both super chuffed, and not only super chuffed for you, but also super chuffed for the EX space, because this is much needed. And yeah, we're just so glad that you've taken the step to kind of move into this space. But anyway, I'm sure Laura's got more questions, so I will stop yapping.
I have. Congratulations. It's very exciting. Tell us a little bit more about the solutions that Fount offer and what can EX and HR leaders expect?
Yeah, very good question, of course. So maybe I'll give a little bit of background. Over 6 years of TI People, the first 2 years, as you know, we've not sold much. So we haven't done much business in the first 2 years. What we've done instead is we've done exploration of the space of employee experience. So we've done co-creation with 25 companies headquartered in Europe, 25 companies headquartered in the US. And with these 50 companies, we were exploring the field and was going forth and back. We did smart things and less smart things. And so as an exploration, right? So, and after 2 years, I think we concluded with these 50 companies, we concluded that there was one root cause for a challenge that large organizations have in managing employee experience. And that is, it's hard to make it visible. It's hard to measure it. It's hard to analyze it, manage it at scale. You can do it like in qualitative research and things like that, but at scale is hard. So we spent the next 2 years figuring out what that could look like. So how to measure, analyze employee experience at scale. And we did that again in co-creation and with some, Laura, with some financial services institutions. We piloted it, and then after the first run, we had to redo it because it was not quite right. So and after, so then 4 years in, we finally had a working thing. So a data set, a way to measure, a way to analyze employee experience, such a complex human-centered thing. And then the last 2 years, we spent productizing it so it's in the space where it is. So to answer your question in short, our solution is two things. One, we call it the EXI, EX Intelligence Solution. That's a way to analyze employee experiences in a way that it really depicts the human experience of work. That's unique. There's no other data model that is validated and can do that. And then the other solution is the EX Operations Solution, EXO. And that is a solution to actually step by step bring the EX intelligence into the veins of the company. So that's it all, in the end, is EX intelligence becomes part of the bloodstream of a large organization. That enables companies to talk about employees' experiences to investors and customers, which is not the case today. Today, it's an HR thing. HR people talk about it, but it's not a story that a CEO would tell to an investor. And that's so the EXO, the EX operations part is to make people take their fair share in owning experiences in a large organization. That's the two solutions that we bring to market.
I think that will really resonate actually with our listeners. And I think that point about making it more commercial and linkage to customer experience is going to be really key. And that sounds like that will be a real selling point, because I think we're at that point with employee experience where it is almost the so what, like you say, it's a lot that HR professionals will talk about it, but we've talked a lot about, even on the podcast, trying to scale that across organizations, how you bring experience with technology, property, and then the big thing, how do you get your business leaders to take notice when, and they're only going to do that really, I think, if it's got a sort of commercial value to it, right? So I think that sounds super exciting. What sort of inspired you and the team to create the solution, and how long has it been in the works? It sounds like it's been a little bit of time, but sort of talk us through that.
It's as always with these things, it was a bumpy road, so it's 2 steps forward, 1 back for almost 4 years now. And for a year, for a bit more than a year now, we are selling the solution. So we have the first 12 global customers signed up to a multi-annual license deal for the solution, and that, so it's really there. But actually, it's been a 6 years ride. The first 2 years exploration, the second year, the next 2 years figuring out what the data model and could look like, and then the last 2 years actually productizing it. It's been in the making for 6 years. The inspiration behind it was maybe Simon Clatworthy's book, the Experience-Centric Organization, because that is what, like from my perspective, many large organizations are not getting right today. Really thinking about experiences as what it is, which is a very, very human-centered thing. So it's a human being that with all their identity, their need for freedom, their creativity, their need for protection and security, and their affections and everything. So their needs and goals is what people bring to work. And then this very human thing interacts with a very non-human thing, which is an organization with its structures and so forth. So it's a human with his or her needs and goals interacting with their environment at work. And that is such a complex thing that it's very hard to tackle it with HR processes and policies and HR products and services. And that was the inspiration to actually make that happen. That is what my intellectual curiosity, at least, said we should go after.
I love that. Can I ask, slightly off topic, well, not really, but not a question you have prepared for. Did the pandemic, this kind of hybrid working hype, this organizations desperately trying to get it right, accelerate your move into this space in any way?
Yes, it did. So very a clear yes. It's we thought we would carve out the software as a solution business out of TI People and set it up as a separate entity a year later. So the plan was accelerated by 1 year, and that is because of the high demand. So there is really a high demand for knowing what people need to be productive in their work. And that is actually what we bring.
Yeah,
definitely.
Love it. Brilliant. I thought so. I thought as much. It feels like this whole situation has just accelerated all sorts of decision making, but super excited that it was around this space. I have a question for you. We are seeing lots of different EX solutions emerge at the moment, and not just ones dedicated to employee experience, but also a lot of existing HR tech kind of pivoting towards employee experiences as the angle. What makes Fount different from all of those other EX solutions on the market?
Yeah, very good. So I think in principle, in general, it is that we are very much focusing on this human part of work. So it is like when we look at the data, the experiences that people have at work is very much about their job. Most other solutions on the market are much more focusing on services that are provided to people and the experience of the services. Whereas if you ask the people themselves, they would always say, it's my job. Like I'm always making this example of we've done a big thing with warehouses and workers in warehouses. And if you are a warehouse picker and you're a forklift driver, you're really caring about the layout of the warehouse and the forklift and if it's working, and you're not really caring about that much about the last workday implementation of your HR department. So that's one big difference. We are focusing on the work itself. And then the other thing, to just put this into perspective, the human-centered experience data that we bring through our EX intelligence solution, you can look at it as complementing two things that companies are already doing. One thing is companies are collecting data, of course. Like there's transactional service surveys coming from ServiceNow, right? Or there is operational data like attrition rates, or there is social media data coming from Glassdoor, or companies are using Microsoft Viva Insights and things like that. All of that is very scalable data. So it's data at scale, but it's not showing the quality of experiences that people are having, at least not in the workspace. So we are different from that group of solutions because we are showing the experience of people at work. The other group of things that companies are doing is qualitative research. So through ethnographic observation, focus groups, interviews, companies are trying to understand what motivates people, what's in their way, how to take away friction from their daily work. That is working. It's experience information. It's high quality experience information, but very hard to do at scale. So basically, we're taking the two. The one is high quality, not at scale. The other is not experience insights, but at scale. We're bringing them together, and we think we can bring almost the same level of quality as qualitative research, but at scale.
I love it. That was so crystal clear and talks to a lot of the, I'll say it, Laura doesn't do this, I do this. A lot of the vendor bashing that I do sometimes is these bold claims around, we're going to implement Workday and it's going to transform the employee experience. Like you say, literally no one cares about your HCM implementation. That does not impact the holistic experience someone has at work. So I totally resonate with everything that you said. And I think it's a common problem. And Laura, we've spoken about this on the podcast, but also when we've had people on, and also with, some of the clients I've worked with. How do you bring the two together without it becoming some convoluted, complex dashboard that really doesn't have a unified message or structure? It just becomes kind of an aggregate of data that is a combination of both, but doesn't really tell us anything. So I'm excited to see how Fount helps organizations tell that story as well, right?
Yeah, indeed. It's well, the core of the whole thing is a data model that can show all kinds of experiences, human experiences of work. And that's the unifying thing. And of course, I mean, knowing real companies, it's not a greenfield thing. You just bring it to the table and here it is, all shiny and great. The real story is, of course, there is all kinds of things going on in large organizations, and bringing them together and unifying them under this one framework is a hell of a task. So it's not easy. I'm not saying it's simple, but if you think of it as here's one data model and you over time fill it with relevant information and over time. So I think we talk about it in a way that we say it's 3 dimensions of getting to scale. So you need over time more and more support from leaders and buy-in from leaders. That won't happen on day one. You don't have like the full C-suite behind the story and say this is the new. No, it's growing over time. So that's one thing that's growing. The other thing that's growing is the data set that shows you what to do, and then the success in improving experiences. That is also growing over time. So it's starting small and then iterating as you scale it up. And the third thing that also doesn't start with a big bang but grows is the enablement of enabling the organization to improve experiences. So more and more decentral units, small teams here and there will buy into the concept and get going. So these 3 dimensions of scaling up the whole concept is also fascinating because it's not the big bang Workday implementation approach that we're taking.
And, if organizations invest in Fount and they have that data, I'm assuming that TI people kind of goes hand in hand as almost an extension of professional services. Is that fair to say?
It's slightly different. I think like for now, today, TI people is the only implementation partner. So setting Fount up, you need a couple of days of TI people work to specify some of the things, so to customize it. That's the part that TI people does. On the other hand, TI people is really about helping the EX leader in a consulting way to build out a more experience-centric organization. So it's much more holistically and not that much focused on a solution.
Yeah, perfect. So we know, because you've been very open about this, that you have taken investment, which is fantastic, which is great to see as well in this space. Did you have any challenges with selling the employee experience concept? Any pushback, or how was it received? I'd be really intrigued to know if Silicon Valley or investors are warming up to this as an idea.
Yeah, good question. Of course, that was interesting. We thought we might need some VC money to help us hire more teams, build more technology faster because of the high market demand. What we didn't expect was how well that went. So there's many investors looking after smart solutions in the space. And so in the end, we raised more money at better conditions than we had planned for. That's good for us. But actually what's good for the EX world out there is that with the recognition of investors that this is a real critical thing for large organizations, that is something that should give us all confidence that we are on the right path. And that was really exciting. So we onboarded two investors. Both are from the US. We believe that the US market is just there, and it's good to be in the US with the product and also with the investment. But that's details. In principle, we were very warmly welcomed by the investors community with our product.
Amazing. That is good to hear. And
so cool.
Yeah, really nice to hear that it's kind of being embraced and championed as well. So hopefully this will pave the way for other solutions as well, coming forward in the EX space for sure. As always, as I said before we started this interview, I'm looking for some sneak peeks, some exclusives from you, Volker. So what can we look forward to this year? And I know it's still early days, but where do you see this going? Like hopes and dreams, tell us what's planned.
Yeah. So I think what's hopes and dreams, I'll start there. Hopes and dreams are that we'll have the first 10 or so companies that we can see using EX intelligence and bringing it into, as I said, the bloodstream of the organization. So in the sense of CEOs are talking about EX data to investors. If that would happen,
Yeah.
then we would be sure that starting from the human-centered perspective and the human experience of work, all the way to business value for the investor community of a large organization, it's really in the bloodstream of the organization. That's my dream. That is what I'd like to see 2 years out. The first 10 companies that in their investor conferences talk about experience data of the people that go to work in their organizations. And now from there backwards, what can people expect of Fount? Maybe this year is, I said, our differentiator is we are looking into the experience of work as such, and work is very different, right? So work is very different, and my forklift driver has a very different job to, I don't know, a data analyst, Laura at Standard Charter. So probably what we will do is we will bring more and more job specific experience templates that help. It's really important that experience intelligence is relevant to the people that have the experiences. And you can't go just with a generic survey or with a generic dashboard and try to depict what a forklift driver is going through. So therefore, what we can expect is more and more job-specific experience analysis and insights. That's one thing. And the other is more and more use cases, what you can actually influence and improve with experience data. It's not only a data set that's made for EX leaders who want to understand the experience and set the right priorities where you get the biggest bang for the buck. It's also data that can inform many other things that are going on in large organizations. Think of all the DE&I initiatives in large companies. What we can show is let's take the example of females in tech. So what we can show is what are the most important moments for women in the tech space. And of those moments, which are broken for women, and of those broken important ones, where is the company not able to provide an equal experience to male and female? That is something that we can do today, and we have many more of those use cases of our EX intelligence that informs things that are already going on in large organizations. So in short, it's two paths where we bring innovation. One is we go more deeper into the experiences that are job specific, and we are informing more other use cases that are already going on with EX intelligence.
Wow. Very impressive.
Super powerful, I think. Yeah.
Really exciting. And, I love that that research mindset really comes through because, so many people, when you ask them, what's your plans, hopes and ambitions for a tech company? They're like, we want to scale, we want to dominate this market, we want to get X number of big customers from, Forbes list, whatever it might be. But your focus and passion for actually making a difference for these organizations just comes through. So I think I'm super excited. Laura, I've asked so many questions. Do you have any questions before we let Volker go?
Actually, I was intrigued because I'm sure all of our listeners will be. Where can people find you? Where can they hear a little bit more about Fount and what you've been up to?
Yeah, so Fount-ex.com is our website. We publish articles on LinkedIn. That's our blog sphere for the moment. So we will talk about news and so forth on LinkedIn. We have a website there. So that's the two channels for now. We will start really doing bigger marketing and branding after the summer. We think we should be ready with like real company cases, proof, and everything before we shout too loud. So that's why you can expect much more after the summer. And for now, Fount-ex.com.
Awesome. Thank you so
Love
much. I've loved the conversation and excited to see what happens over the next few months for you.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Very lovely conversation. Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Take
Volker.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.